We've talked about curses before on this channel, and I've said that I would not mess with anything that may be cursed. This applies to gold, jewels, and especially people. I've watched the mummy movies too many times to not be worried that if we dig some ancient person up from the ground, there aren't going to be any consequences. And also, what's the deal with us digging up people from their graves in the name of science? Can't we just leave these poor people alone? I mean, think about it. How would you like it if you were buried in a nice tomb which your family spent a lot of money on, and you were buried in accordance to your beliefs? Like, for example, the Chinese believe that a person must be buried forever in the earth to receive everlasting peace. And then maybe a few hundred years or 1,000 years later, people just go and dig you up, poke around your body for a while, and then put you in a museum. I guess maybe you don't care if you believe that you just die and your body's just whatever, it doesn't really matter, and that's it. But let's just say you believe you will only be at peace if your tomb is not disturbed, and you go through all this trouble to make sure it's not disturbed, and then bam, people in the future just go and dig you up. You know how you can prevent this though? Do what this ancient princess did. A tattooed princess preserved in permafrost after 2,500 years is to be reburied amid fears her upheaval sparked a series of natural disasters. The mummified remains of the Russian ice maiden were discovered 21 years ago in a high-altitude plateau in the heart of southwestern Siberia. But her removal led to concerns among the local elders, who called for her to be put back into her final resting place to stop her anger that caused floods and earthquakes. Ancient beliefs dictate that her presence in the burial chamber had been to bar the entrance to the kingdom of the dead. Now, the Siberian Times has reported plans have finally been put forward to re-enter the body back into the ground in Russia's Altai Mountains and honor her with her own special mausoleum. The tattooed mummy was excavated by researchers in 1993 and was heralded as one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. Thought to be 25 years old when she died of suspected cancer, she was found preserved in permafrost with 2 men also discovered nearby. Buried around her were 6 horses saddled and bridled and said to have been her spiritual escorts to the next world, along with a meal of sheep and horse meat. Archaeologists also found ornaments made from felt, wood, bronze, and gold, as well as a small container of cannabis and a stone plate on which coriander seeds were burned. From her clothes and possessions, including a cosmetics bag, scientists were able to recreate her fashion and beauty secrets. She was dressed in a long skirt made from Chinese silk and had long felt sleeve boots with a beautiful decoration on them. At that time, Chinese silk was more expensive than gold. It gave an indication of her wealth and status. Her head was completely shaved and she wore a horsehair wig on top of which was a carving of a wooden deer. The princess's face and neck skin was not preserved, but the skin on her left arm survived. But the most exciting discovery was her elaborate body art, which many observers said bore striking similarities to modern-day tattoos. Elders in the Altai Mountains have long called for the mummified remains to be reburied to stop her anger, which caused floods and earthquakes. They insisted that the worst flooding in 50 years in Altai and a series of earthquakes were caused by the dead princess. This princess got it right. If I was ever dug up in the future, man, I'm gonna hunt the heck out of the people that dug me up. I would give these guys the bundled curse treatment. I would poltergeist their homes, show up in the back of their cars randomly, put on a long dark wig, pour water over myself, and then climb out of their TVs. If I was ever put in a museum, I wouldn't break anything, but I would go to famous paintings or something and just draw mustaches on them. I would get other dead people in the museum involved and pull off a whole night at the museum thing. Not at a museum, in real life, if people ever dig me up in the future. Alright guys, let me know how you would feel if you were ever dug up in the future, and what would you do to prevent that. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.